A swim bait is one of those baits that if it's working, you have clear enough water, you have fish that will commit and eat it, it really trumps about any other bait because it's the most realistic looking lure made. They make a bunch of different ones. Now let's jump into the one that I use around the spawn because it's a little bit different than what I think of when I think of swim baits. When I think of swim baits, I just think of a big 6-inch hollow bodied. You're going to put a jig head on it. You're going to throw it out in a little deeper water. That's not totally the case for the spawn. So let's give you a look at a few different options you can fish for spawning bass with a swim bait. So the first thing would be to put a little swim bait. Now this is a skinny dipper, and put it on the back of a swim jig. A bunch of companies make these little swim baits that are solid bodies. I used to call them grass swim baits until I started fishing them around lakes that have wood and rock, and I realized that this is just a powerful tool anytime you have fish that are spawning. It catches the pre-spawners and the post-spawners while you're up shallow. Really, anytime you have shallow flats and you need to cover water, this is a great tool. Now, what it does is it helps you find where those fish are spawning. Now, you will be on a big spawning flat, and this is a bait that gets those fish to either show themselves or you just flat out catch them on it, and it's a great tool. And I think it's kind of gone away as far as how many people are throwing it. I mean, this was a bait that would win everything when it came onto the market in 2009, and you just don't hear much about it anymore, and it's still a really great shallow water power fishing bait. So the first way you can rig it would put it on a swim jig. You don't necessarily always have to have a skirt on there. A swim jig is a great option because your hookup percentage is going to be the best. It's still fairly weedless, and it's very efficient. You just slide that bait up on the swim jig, and you're good to go. The other option would be to rig it on just a regular old Texas rig. So rig it up like you would a worm, and really that's what this bait is. It's a hybrid between a worm and a swim bait. You can fish this bait in the same type of cover that you can fish a frog when you rig it up, Texas style. You can put a bullet weight on there. I typically like anything from like a 16th to a 32nd. Get a little peg and peg that on the front of your bait, and you can reel that through anything. Again, that is going to be as weedless as a frog. Now, the bait isn't going to run the best rigged up Texas style. If you are fishing it in really shallow water around a lot of heavy cover, it will rig perfectly, or it will run perfectly fine rather in that situation. Now, if you are in between the swim jig and in between the Texas style, you want to give those fish a natural look. You're not fishing it around too much cover to where your bait is constantly getting stuck. A good old-fashioned swim bait, keel-weighted belly hook is a great option. It looks better that way. You can throw it on fluorocarbon or braid, it doesn't matter. And it's still very weedless, but it just has the best look to it. So try those 3 ways to rig up these small grass swim baits. You can do a lot with them. You can fish them slow rolled on the bottom. You can bubble it on top, reel it fast, reel it slow, whatever you want to do. And it's just a great way to cover a bunch of water, find those small bedding areas on big flats, and get those fish to either eat it, show themselves, help you locate where they're at, and it's one of the best search tools around the spawn. So good luck to you guys. Let me know how that works, and I'll see you on the water.